The Tall Woman, a short story written by Pedro Antonio de Alarcón and first published in 1882 and read for you in both Spanish and English. Please enjoy. How little we really know, my friends. How little we really know. The speaker was Gabriel, a distinguished civil engineer of the Mountain Corps. Qué poco sabemos en realidad, amigos míos. Qué poco sabemos de verdad. El que hablaba se llamaba Gabriel, un distinguido ingeniero civil del Cuerpo de Montaña. He was seated under a pine tree near a spring on the crest of the Guadarrama. It was only about a league and a half distant from the palace of the Escurial, on the boundary line of the provinces of Madrid and Segovia. I know the place, spring, pine tree, and all, but I have forgotten its name. Él estaba sentado bajo un pino, cerca de un manantial, en la cumbre de la Guadarrama. Solo quedaba a cosa de una legua y media del Palacio de El Escorial, en el límite de las provincias de Madrid y Segovia. Conozco el sitio, el manantial, el pino y todo, pero he olvidado su nombre. Let us sit down, went on Gabriel, as that is the correct thing to do, and as our program calls for a rest here in this pleasant and classic spot, famous for the digestive properties of that spring. Sentémonos, continuó Gabriel, pues eso es lo correcto, y nuestro programa exige un descanso aquí, en este lugar tan agradable y clásico, famoso por las propiedades digestivas de ese manantial. And for the many lambs here devoured by our noted teachers, Don Miguel Bosch, Don Maximo Laguna, Don Agustin Pascual, and other illustrious naturalists. Y por los numerosos corderos que aquí fueron devorados por nuestros célebres maestros, Don Miguel Bosch, Don Máximo Laguna, Don Agustín Pascual, y otros ilustres naturalistas. Sit down, and I will tell you a strange and wonderful story in proof of my thesis, which is, though you call me an obscurantist for it, that supernatural events still occur on this terraqueous globe. Tomen asiento, y les contaré una historia extraña y maravillosa que demostrará mi tesis, la cual, aunque me acusen de oscurantista por ello, sostiene que aún suceden hechos sobrenaturales en este globo terráqueo. I mean events which you cannot get into terms of reason, or science, or philosophy, as those words, in Hamlet's phrase, are understood or are not understood today. Me refiero a acontecimientos que no pueden encajarse en términos de razón, de ciencia ni de filosofía, tal como se comprende, o no, hoy aquello de palabras, según la expresión de Hamlet. Gabriel was addressing his animated remarks to 5 persons of different ages. None of them was young, though only one was well along in years. 3 of them were, like Gabriel, engineers, the 4th was a painter, and the 5th was a literature in a small way. Gabriel dirigía sus comentarios, llenos de entusiasmo, a 5 personas de distintas edades. Ninguna de ellas era joven, aunque solo una era bastante mayor. 3, como Gabriel, eran ingenieros, el 4º era pintor y el 5º ejercía modestamente la literatura. In company with the speaker, who was the youngest, we had all ridden up on hired mules from the real Sitio de San Lorenzo to spend the day botanizing among the beautiful pine groves of pecorinos, chasing butterflies with gauze nets, catching rare beetles under the bark of the decayed pines, and eating a cold lunch out of a hamper which we had paid for on shares. Junto al orador, que era el más joven, habíamos subido en mulas alquiladas desde el Real Sitio de San Lorenzo para pasar el día haciendo botánica entre los hermosos pinares de pequerinos, persiguiendo mariposas con redes de gasa, atrapando escarabajos raros bajo la corteza de pinos podridos y comiendo un almuerzo frío sacado de una cesta que pagamos a partes iguales. This took place in 1875. It was the height of the summer. I do not remember whether it was St. James's Day or St. Louis's. I am inclined to think it was St. Louis. Whichever it was, we enjoyed a delicious coolness at that height, and the heart and brain, as well as the stomach, were there in much better working order than usual. Esto sucedió en 1875. Era pleno verano. No recuerdo si era el día de Santiago o el de San Luis, me inclino a creer que era el de San Luis. Fuera cual fuese, disfrutábamos de una frescura deliciosa en aquella altura, y tanto el corazón como el cerebro, Además del estómago, funcionaban allí mucho mejor de lo habitual. When the 6 friends were seated, Gabriel continued as follows. Cuando los 6 amigos estuvieron sentados, Gabriel prosiguió de esta manera. I do not think you will accuse me of being a visionary. Luckily or unluckily, I am, if you will allow me to say so, a man of the modern world. I have no superstition about me, and am as much of a positivist as the best of them, although I include among the positive data of nature all the mysterious faculties and feelings of the soul. No creo que me acusen de visionario. Por fortuna o por desgracia, soy, si me lo permiten, un hombre del mundo moderno. Carezco de supersticiones y soy tan positivista como el que más, aunque incluyo entre los datos positivos de la naturaleza todas las facultades y sentimientos misteriosos del alma. Well then, apropos of supernatural or extra-natural phenomena, listen to what I have seen and heard, although I was not the real hero of the very strange story I am going to relate, and then tell me what explanation of an earthly, physical, or natural sort, however you may name it, can be given of so wonderful an occurrence. Pues bien, a propósito de fenómenos sobrenaturales o extranaturales, escuchen lo que yo he visto y oído, aunque no fui el verdadero protagonista de la extrañísima historia que relataré, y luego díganme qué explicación terrenal, física o natural, como quieran llamarla, puede darse a un suceso tan asombroso. The case was as follows, but wait, pour me out a drop, for the skin bottle must have got cooled off by this time in that bubbling, crystalline spring located by Providence on this piney crest for the express purpose of cooling a botanist's wine. El caso fue el siguiente. Pero alto ahí. Sírvanme un poco, porque el botijo debe de haberse enfriado ya en ese manantial burbujeante y cristalino, puesto por la providencia en esta cresta llena de pinos con el único objetivo de refrescar el vino de un botánico. Well, gentlemen, I do not know whether you ever heard of an engineer of the Rhodes Corps named Telesforo X. He died in 1860. Bien, señores, ignoro si han oído hablar de un ingeniero de caminos llamado Telesforo X. Falleció en 1860. No, I haven't, but I have. So have I. He was a young fellow from Andalusia, with a black mustache. He was to have married the Marquis of Moreda's daughter, but he died of jaundice. No, no lo conozco. Pero yo sí. Yo también. Era un joven andaluz de bigote negro. Iba a casarse con la hija del Marqués de Moreda, pero murió de ictericia. The very one, said Gabriel. Well then, my friend Telesforo, 6 months before his death, was still a most promising young man, as they say nowadays. He was good-looking, well-built, energetic, and had the glory of being the first one in his class to be promoted. Meses antes de morir, seguía siendo un joven muy prometedor, como dicen hoy. Era apuesto, bien proporcionado, enérgico, y tenía el orgullo de ser el primero de su promoción en obtener ascenso. He had already gained distinction in the practice of his profession through some fine pieces of work. Several different companies were competing for his services, and many marriageable women were also competing for him. But Telesforo, as you said, was faithful to poor Joaquina Moreda. Ya había destacado en el ejercicio de su profesión gracias a varias obras notables. Varias compañías competían por contar con sus servicios, y también muchas mujeres casaderas competían por él. Pero Telesforo, como ustedes mencionaron, se mantenía fiel a la pobre Joaquina Moreda. As you know, it turned out that she died suddenly at the baths of Santa Agueda at the end of the summer of 1859. I was in Pau when I received the sad news of her death, which affected me very much on account of my close friendship with Telesforo. Como saben, resultó que ella falleció repentinamente en los baños de Santa Águeda a finales del verano de 1859. Yo me encontraba en Pau cuando recibí la triste noticia de su muerte, lo cual me conmovió enormemente dada mi estrecha amistad con Telesforo. With her I had spoken only once in the house of her aunt, the wife of General Lopez, and I certainly thought her bluish pallor a symptom of bad health. Solo había conversado con ella en una ocasión, en casa de su tía, la esposa del general López, y sin duda consideré que su palidez tirando a azul era un síntoma de mala salud. But however that may be, she had a distinguished manner and a great deal of grace, and was, besides, the only daughter of a title, and a title that carried some comfortable thousands with it, so I felt sure my good mathematician would be inconsolable. Pero fuese como fuese, ella poseía un porte distinguido y mucha elegancia. Además, era la única hija de un título que traía consigo unos cuantos miles holgados. Por eso estaba seguro de que mi buen matemático quedaría desconsolado. Consequently, as soon as I was back in Madrid, 15 or 20 days after his loss, I went to see them very early one morning. He lived in elegant bachelor quarters in Lobo Street. I do not remember the number, but it was near the Carrera de San Jerónimo. Por consiguiente, tan pronto como regresé a Madrid, 15 o 20 días después de su pérdida, fui a visitarlo muy temprano una mañana. Vivía en un elegante piso de soltero en la calle del Lobo. No recuerdo el número, pero estaba cerca de la Carrera de San Jerónimo. The young engineer was very melancholy, although calm and apparently master of his grief. He was already at work, even at that hour, laboring with his assistants over some railroad plans or other. He was dressed in deep mourning. El joven ingeniero se mostraba muy melancólico, aunque sereno y aparentemente dueño de su aflicción. Ya estaba trabajando, incluso a esa hora, en unos planos de ferrocarril o algo similar junto a sus ayudantes. Vestía un riguroso luto. He greeted me with a long and close embrace without so much as sighing. Then he gave some directions to his assistants about the work in hand, and afterwards led me to his private office at the farther end of the house. Me saludó con un abrazo largo y firme sin llegar a suspirar. Luego dio algunas instrucciones a sus ayudantes sobre el proyecto en curso y después me condujo a su despacho particular, al fondo de la casa. As we were on our way there, he said, in a sorrowful tone and without glancing at me, "I am very glad you have come. Several times I have found myself wishing you were here. A very strange thing has happened to me. Only a friend such as you are can hear of it without thinking me either a fool or crazy. I want to get an opinion about it as calm and cool as science itself." Mientras íbamos hacia allí, comentó en tono apenado y sin mirarme, "Me alegra mucho que hayas venido. Varias veces me sorprendí deseando tu presencia. Me ha ocurrido algo muy extraño. Solo un amigo como tú puede escucharlo sin pensar que soy un necio o un loco. Necesito una opinión tan serena y fría como la misma ciencia." "Sit down," he went on when we had reached his office, "and do not imagine that I am going to afflict you with a description of the sorrow I am suffering, a sorrow which will last as long as I live. Why should I? You can easily picture it to yourself, little as you know of trouble. And as for being comforted, I do not wish to be either now or later or ever. Siéntate, continuó al llegar a su despacho, y no creas que voy a agobiarte describiendo el dolor que padezco, un dolor que durará mientras viva. ¿Para qué? Tú puedes imaginarlo fácilmente, aun con lo poco que conoces la pena. Y en cuanto a consuelos, no los deseo ahora, ni después, ni nunca. What I am going to speak to you about, with the requisite deliberation, going back to the very beginning of the thing, is a horrible and mysterious occurrence, which was an infernal omen of my calamity, and which has distressed me in a frightful manner. De lo que voy a hablarte con la necesaria calma y remontándome al inicio de todo, es de un suceso espantoso y misterioso, un presagio infernal de mi desgracia que me ha atormentado de modo aterrador. Go on, I replied, sitting down. The fact was, I almost repented having entered the house as I saw the expression of abject fear on my friend's face. Adelante, respondí, tomando asiento. Lo cierto es que casi me arrepentí de haber entrado en la casa al ver la expresión de terror absoluto en el rostro de mi amigo. Listen, then, said he, wiping the perspiration from his forehead. Escucha, pues dijo, secándose el sudor de la frente. I do not know whether it is due to some inborn fatality of imagination, or to having heard some story or other of the kind with which children are so rashly allowed to be frightened. But the fact is, that since my earliest years nothing has caused me so much horror and alarm as a woman alone, in the street, at a late hour of the night. The effect is the same whether I actually encounter her or simply have an image of her in my mind. No sé si se deba a alguna fatalidad innata de la imaginación o haber escuchado alguna de esas historias con que tan imprudentemente asustan a los niños, pero el caso es que, desde mis primeros años, nada me ha dado tanto horror y alarma como ver a una mujer sola en la calle a altas horas de la noche, ya sea que me la encuentre o que la imagine en mi mente. You can testify that I was never a coward. I fought a duel once when I had to, like any other man. Just after I had left the School of Engineers, my workmen in Despanaperos revolted, and I fought them with stick and pistol until I made them submit. Tú puedes atestiguar que nunca fui cobarde. En una ocasión me batí en duelo cuando fue preciso, como cualquier hombre. Recién salido de la escuela de ingenieros, mis obreros en Despeñaperros se amotinaron y luché contra ellos a bastonazos y pistola hasta que los sometí. All my life long, in Jane, in Madrid, and elsewhere, I have walked the streets at all hours, alone and unarmed, and if I have chanced to run upon suspicious-looking persons, thieves, or mere sneaking beggars, they have had to get out of my way or take to their heels. Toda mi vida en Jaén, en Madrid y en otros sitios, he caminado por las calles a cualquier hora, solo y desarmado, y si me topaba con gente sospechosa, ladrones o mendigos taimados, tenían que apartarse de mi paso o salir huyendo. But if the person turned out to be a solitary woman, standing still or walking, and I was also alone, with no one in sight in any direction, then, laugh if you want to, but believe me, I would be all covered over with goose flesh. Vague fears would assail me. I would think about beings of the other world, about imaginary existences, and about all the superstitious. Stories which would make me laugh under other circumstances. Pero si resultaba ser una mujer solitaria, quieta o andando, y yo también me encontraba solo, sin nadie a la vista en ninguna dirección, ríete si quieres, pero créeme, se me ponía la piel de gallina. Me invadían temores difusos. Pensaba en seres de otro mundo, en existencias imaginarias y en todas esas historias supersticiosas que, en otras circunstancias, me harían reír. I would quicken my pace, or else turn back, and would not get over my fright in the least until safe in my own house. Once there I would fall a-laughing, and would be ashamed of my crazy fears. The only comfort I had was that nobody knew anything about it. Aceleraba el paso o me volvía atrás, y no se me pasaba el susto hasta que llegaba sano y salvo a mi casa. Una vez allí, me reía y me avergonzaba de mis temores descabellados. El único consuelo era que nadie se enteraba de aquello. Then I would dispassionately remind myself that I did not believe in goblins, witches, or ghosts, and that I had no reason whatever to be afraid of that wretched woman driven from her home at such an hour by poverty, or some crime or accident to whom I might better have offered help if she needed it, or given alms. Después me recordaba con serenidad que yo no creía en duendes, brujas o fantasmas, y que no tenía motivo alguno para temer a aquella desdichada, expulsada de su hogar a esas horas por la pobreza, algún crimen o un accidente, a quien más bien debería haber ayudado o dado limosna en caso necesario. Nevertheless, the pitiable scene would be gone over again as often as a similar thing occurred, and remember that I was 24 years old, that I had experienced a great many adventures by night, and yet that I had never had the slightest difficulty of any sort with such solitary women in the streets after midnight. No obstante, se repetía la misma penosa situación cada vez que ocurría algo similar, y ten en cuenta que yo tenía 24 años, había pasado muchas aventuras nocturnas, y aún así jamás había tenido la menor dificultad con esas mujeres solitarias que deambulaban por las calles tras la medianoche. But nothing of what I have so far told you ever came to have any importance, since that irrational fear always left me as soon as I reached home, or saw anyone else in the street, and I would scarcely recall it a few minutes afterwards, any more than one would recall a stupid mistake which had no result of any consequence. Sin embargo, nada de lo que te he dicho hasta ahora cobró importancia real, ya que ese miedo irracional siempre desaparecía tan pronto como llegaba a mi casa o veía a otra persona por la calle, y apenas lo recordaba unos minutos después, como quien olvida un error tonto sin consecuencias relevantes. Things were going on so when, nearly 3 years ago, unhappily, I have good reason for knowing the date, it was the night of November 15th to 16th, 1857. I was coming home at 3 in the morning. As you remember, I was living then in that little house in Jardines Street, near Montera Street. La cosa seguía así cuando, hace casi 3 años, por desgracia, recuerdo bien la fecha. Era la noche del 15 al 16 de noviembre de 1857. Regresaba a casa a las 3 de la madrugada. Como sabes, entonces vivía en aquella casita de la calle Jardins, cerca de la calle Montera. I had just come, at that late hour, a bitter, cold wind blowing at the time, out of a sort of a gambling house. I tell you this, although I know it will surprise you. You know that I am not a gambler. I went to the place, deceived by an alleged friend. Acababa de salir a tan tardía hora y con un viento helado soplando, de una especie de garito. Te lo cuento aunque sé que te sorprenderá. Sabes que no soy jugador. Entré allí engañado por un supuesto amigo. But the fact was that as people began to drop in about midnight, coming from receptions or the theater, the play began to be very heavy, and one saw the gleam of gold in plenty. Then came bank bills and notes of hand. Little by little I was carried away by the feverish and seductive passion, and lost all. The money I had. El caso es que a eso de medianoche, cuando llegaba gente que venía de recepciones o del teatro, la partida se puso muy fuerte y se veía muchísimo oro. Después llegaron los billetes de banco y los pagarés. Poco a poco me dejé arrastrar por esa pasión febril y seductora, y perdí todo el dinero que llevaba. I even went away missing a second sum, for which I had left my note behind me. In short, I ruined myself completely, and but for the legacy that came to me afterwards, together with the good jobs I have had, my situation would have been extremely critical and painful. Incluso me marché debiendo otra suma adicional, por la que dejé un pagaré. En fin, me arruiné por completo. Y si no hubiera sido por la herencia que recibí después y por los buenos trabajos que he tenido, mi situación habría sido sumamente delicada y dolorosa. So I was going home, I say, at so late an hour that night, numb with the cold, hungry, ashamed, and disgusted as you can imagine, thinking about my sick old father more than about myself. I should have to write to him for money, and this would astonish as much as it would grieve him, since he thought me in very easy circumstances. Así que volví a casa, ya digo, a esa hora tan avanzada, helado de frío, hambriento, avergonzado y asqueado, como puedes suponer, pensando más en mi anciano padre enfermo que en mí mismo. Tendría que pedirle dinero, lo cual lo sorprendería tanto como lo afligiría, pues creía que yo vivía desahogadamente. Just before reaching my street, where it crosses Peligros Street, as I was walking in front of a newly built house, I perceived something in its doorway. It was a tall, large woman, standing stiff and motionless, as if made of wood. She seemed to be about 60 years old. Her wild and malignant eyes, unshaded by eyelashes, were fixed on mine like 2 daggers. Her toothless mouth made a horrible grimace at me, meant to be a smile. Poco antes de llegar a mi calle, en la intersección con la calle Peligros, mientras pasaba frente a una casa de reciente construcción, percibí algo en su portal. Era una mujer alta y corpulenta, inmóvil y rígida, como si fuera de madera. Calculo que tendría unos 60 años. Sus ojos salvajes y malignos, desprovistos de pestañas, se clavaron en los míos como 2 puñales. Su boca desdentada dibujó una mueca espantosa, pretendiendo ser una sonrisa. The very terror or delirium of fear which instantly overcame me gave me somehow a most acute perception, so that I could distinguish at a glance, in the 2 seconds it took me to pass by that repugnant vision, the slightest details of her face and dress. El terror mismo o un delirio de miedo que me invadió de inmediato me otorgó, de algún modo, una percepción muy aguda, de modo que pude distinguir de un vistazo, en los 2 segundos que tardé en pasar ante aquella repugnante aparición, hasta los más mínimos detalles de su rostro y su atuendo. Let me see if I can put together my impressions in the way and form in which I received them, as they were engraved ineffaceably on my brain in the light of the street lamp which shone luridly over that ghastly scene. But I am exciting myself too much, though there is reason enough for it, as you will see further on. Don't be concerned, however, for the state of my mind. I am not yet crazy. Veamos si logro reunir mis impresiones tal como las recibí, indeleblemente grabadas en mi cerebro bajo la luz de la farola que iluminaba, con un resplandor siniestro, aquella escena sobrecogedora. Pero me estoy alterando demasiado, aunque no faltan motivos, como verás más adelante. Sin embargo, no te inquietes por mi estado mental. Todavía no estoy loco. The first thing which struck me in that woman, as I will call her, was her extreme height and the breadth of her bony shoulders. Then the roundness and fixity of her dry owl eyes, the enormous size of her protruding nose, and the great dark cavern of her mouth. Finally, her dress, like that of a young woman of Avapies, the new little cotton handkerchief which she wore on her head, tied under her chin, and a diminutive fan which she carried open in her hand, and with which, in affected modesty, she was covering the middle of her waist. Lo primero que me impresionó de aquella mujer, como la llamaré, fue su estatura desmesurada y la anchura de sus hombros huesudos. Luego, la redondez y fijeza de sus ojos secos, de ave nocturna, el tamaño descomunal de su nariz prominente y la gran cavidad oscura de su boca. Finalmente, su atuendo, propio de una joven de avapiés, el pañuelo nuevo de algodón que llevaba en la cabeza, atado bajo el mentón, y un diminuto abanico que sostenía abierto en la mano, con el cual, en fingida modestia, se tapaba la parte media de la cintura. Nothing could be at the same time more ridiculous and more awful, more laughable and more taunting, than that little fan in those huge hands. It seemed like a make-believe scepter in the hands of such an old, hideous, and bony giantess. Nada podía ser al mismo tiempo más ridículo y más pavoroso, más risible y más insultante que aquel pequeño abanico en esas manos enormes. Parecía un cetro de juguete en manos de semejante giganta vieja, horrenda y huesuda. A like effect was produced by the showy percale handkerchief adorning her face by the side of that cutwater nose, hooked and masculine. For a moment I was led to believe, or I was very glad to, that it was a man in disguise. Un efecto parecido causaba el vistoso pañuelo de percal que adornaba su rostro, junto a aquella nariz con forma de tajamar, ganchuda y masculina. Por un instante llegué a pensar, o me complacía en creer, que se trataba de un hombre disfrazado. But her cynical glance and harsh smile were of a hag, of a witch, an enchantress, of fate, I know not what. There was something about her to justify fully the aversion and fright which I had been caused all my life long by women walking alone in the streets at night. Pero su mirada cínica y su sonrisa áspera eran de bruja, de hechicera, de parca, no sé qué. Había en ella algo que justificaba plenamente la aversión y el miedo que me habían provocado toda la vida las mujeres solitarias que deambulan por la noche. One would have said that I had had a presentiment of that encounter from my cradle. One would have said that I was frightened by it instinctively, as every living being fears and divines, and scents and recognizes, its natural enemy before ever being injured by it, before ever having seen it, and solely on hearing its tread. Se diría que llevaba ese presentimiento desde la cuna. Se diría que lo temía de manera instintiva, como cada ser vivo que teme y adivina, olfatea y reconoce a su enemigo natural antes de ser dañado por él, antes incluso de haberlo visto, con solo percibir sus pasos. I did not dash away in a run when I saw my life's sphinx. I restrained my impulse to do so, less out of shame and manly pride than out of fear lest my very fright should reveal to her who I was, or should give her wings to follow me, to overtake me, I do not know what. Panic like that dreams of dangers which have neither form nor name. No eché a correr cuando vi a la esfinge de mi vida. Refrené ese impulso, más por miedo a que mi propio terror la descubriera ante mí o le diera alas para perseguirme, alcanzarme, no sé qué, que por vergüenza o pundonor. Quien siente ese pánico imagina peligros sin forma ni nombre. My house was at the opposite end of the long and narrow street, in which I was alone, entirely alone with that mysterious phantom whom I thought able to annihilate me with a word. How should I ever get home? Oh, how anxiously I looked towards that distant Montera Street, broad and well lighted, where there are policemen to be found at all hours. Mi casa estaba en el extremo opuesto de aquella calle larga y estrecha, donde me encontraba solo, totalmente solo con ese fantasma misterioso que creía capaz de aniquilarme con una sola palabra. ¿Cómo podría llegar a mi hogar? cuánto anhelaba alcanzar la lejana calle Montera, más amplia y bien iluminada, donde se hallan policías a cualquier hora. I decided finally to get the better of my weakness, to dissemble and hide that wretched fear, not to hasten my pace, but to keep on advancing slowly, even at the cost of years of health or life, and in this way, little by little, to go on getting nearer to my house, exerting myself to the utmost not to fall. Fainting on the ground before I reached it. Al fin resolví dominar mi debilidad, disimular y ocultar aquel mísero temor, no acelerar el paso, sino seguir avanzando despacio, aunque me costara años de salud o de vida, y de ese modo, poco a poco, acercarme a mi casa, haciendo un esfuerzo supremo por no desmayar en el camino antes de lograrlo. I was walking along in this way. I must have taken about 20 steps after leaving behind me the doorway where the woman with the fan was hidden, when suddenly a horrible idea came to me, horrible, yet very natural nevertheless, the idea that I would look back to see if my enemy was following me. Continuaba caminando así. Debía de haber dado unos 20 pasos desde que dejé atrás el portal donde estaba la mujer del abanico, cuando de pronto me asaltó una idea espantosa, aunque muy natural, mirar atrás para ver si mi enemiga me seguía. One thing or the other, I thought, with the rapidity of a flash of lightning. Either my alarm has some foundation or it is madness. If it has any foundation, this woman will have started after me, will be overtaking me, and there is no hope for me on earth. Una de dos, pensé con la velocidad de un relámpago. O mi alarma tiene fundamento o es pura locura. Si hay razón alguna, esa mujer ya vendrá tras de mí, me alcanzará, y no me queda esperanza en este mundo. But if it is madness, a mere supposition, a panic fright like any other, I will convince myself it in the present instance, and for every case that may occur hereafter, by seeing that that poor old woman has stayed in that doorway to protect herself from the cold or to wait till the door is opened, and thereupon I can go on to my house in perfect tranquility, and I shall have cured myself of a fancy that causes me great mortification. Pero si es locura, una simple conjetura, un miedo de pánico como cualquier otro, me convenceré ahora y para situaciones futuras al comprobar que esa pobre anciana permanece en ese portal para guarecerse del frío o esperar que le abran. Entonces podré continuar a casa con total tranquilidad, y me habré curado de una obsesión que me mortifica enormemente. This reasoning gone through with, I made an extraordinary effort and turned my head. Ah, Gabriel, Gabriel, how fearful it was! The tall woman had followed me with silent tread, was right over me, almost touching me with her fan, almost leaning her head on my shoulder. Tras este razonamiento, hice un esfuerzo enorme y giré la cabeza. Ah, Gabriel, Gabriel, qué espanto. Aquella mujer alta me había seguido con paso sigiloso. Estaba justo encima de mí, casi rozándome con su abanico, casi apoyando su cabeza en mi hombro. Why was she doing it? Why, my Gabriel? Was she a thief? Was she really a man in disguise? Was she some malicious old hag who had seen that I was afraid of her? Was she a spectre conjured up by my very cowardice? Was she a mocking phantasm of human self-deception? I could never tell you all I thought in a single moment. ¿Por qué lo hacía? ¿Por qué Gabriel? ¿Era una ladrona? ¿Un hombre disfrazado? ¿Alguna vieja maliciosa que descubrió mi miedo? ¿Un espectro invocado por mi propia cobardía? ¿Un fantasma burlón nacido del autoengaño humano? Jamás podría contarte todo lo que pensé en aquel instante. If the truth must be told, I gave a scream and flew away like a child of 4 years who thinks he sees the black man. I did not stop running until I got out into Montera Street. Once there, my fear left me like magic. This in spite of the fact that that street also was deserted. Para ser franco, grité y salí corriendo como un niño de 4 años que cree ver al hombre del saco. No paré hasta llegar a la calle Montera. Una vez allí, el miedo se me fue como por arte de magia, a pesar de que también esa calle estaba desierta. Then I turned my head to look back to Jardine Street. I could see down its whole length. It was lighted well enough for me to see the tall woman, if she had drawn back in any direction, and by heaven, I could not see her. Standing still, walking, or in any way. Entonces giré la cabeza para mirar hacia la calle Jardines. Podía verla en toda su extensión. Estaba lo bastante iluminada como para divisar a la mujer alta si se hubiera retirado en cualquier dirección, y, por Dios, no la veía quieta ni andando ni de ningún modo. However, I was very careful not to go back into that street again. The wretch, I said to myself, has slunk into some other doorway. But she can't move without my seeing her. Just then I saw a policeman coming up Caballero de Gracia Street, and I shouted to him without stirring from my place. Sin embargo, me cuidé mucho de no volver a entrar en esa calle. Esa miserable, me dije, se ha metido en algún otro portal, pero no podrá moverse sin que yo la vea. En ese momento vi a un agente que subía por la calle Caballero de Gracia y le grité sin moverme del sitio. I told him that there was a man dressed as a woman in Jardine Street. I directed him to go round by the way of Peligros and Aduana Streets, while I would remain where I was, and in that way the fellow, who was probably a thief or murderer, could not escape us. The policeman did as I said. He went through Aduana Street, and as soon as I saw his lantern coming along Jardine Street, I also went up it resolutely. Le conté que había un hombre disfrazado de mujer en la calle Jardines. Le indiqué que rodeara por Peligros y Aduana mientras yo permanecía en mi lugar, de modo que ese tipo, probablemente un ladrón o asesino, no pudiera escapar. El agente hizo lo que dije. Cruzó la calle Aduana, y en cuanto vi su linterna avanzando por Jardines, entré yo también con determinación. We soon met at about the middle of the block, without either of us having encountered a soul, although we had examined door after door. He has got into some house, said the policeman. That must be so, I replied, opening my door with the fixed purpose of moving to some other street the next day. Nos reunimos pronto a mitad de la manzana, sin que ninguno hubiera encontrado un alma, aunque revisamos cada portal. Habrá entrado en alguna casa, dijo el policía. Debe de ser eso, le respondí, abriendo mi puerta con el firme propósito de mudarme a otra calle al día siguiente. A few moments later I was in my room. I always carried my latchkey so as not to have to disturb my good Jose. Nevertheless, he was waiting for me that night. My misfortunes of the 15th and 16th of November were not yet ended. Poco después estaba en mi habitación. Siempre llevaba mi llave para no molestar al buen José. Sin embargo, él me esperaba aquella noche. Mis infortunios del 15 y 16 de noviembre aún no habían terminado. What has happened? I asked him in surprise. Major Falcon was here, he replied, with evident agitation, waiting for you from 11 till 2:30, and he told me that if you came home to sleep, you had better not undress, as he would be back at daybreak. ¿Qué ha pasado? Le pregunté sorprendido. Ha estado aquí el mayor Falcón, me contestó, visiblemente alterado. Te esperó desde las 11 hasta las 2:30, y me dijo que si volvías a dormir, mejor no te desvistieras, porque regresaría al amanecer. Those words left me trembling with grief and alarm, as if they had predicted my own death to me. I knew that my beloved father, at his home in Jane, had been suffering frequent and dangerous attacks of his chronic disease. I had not the slightest doubt, therefore, that my father had died. Esas palabras me dejaron temblando de angustia y temor, como si anunciaran mi propia muerte. Sabía que mi querido padre, en su casa de Jaén, había estado sufriendo ataques frecuentes y peligrosos de su dolencia crónica. Por lo tanto, no dudé ni por un segundo que mi padre hubiera fallecido. I sat down in an armchair to wait for the morning and my friend, and, with them, the news of my great misfortune. God only knows what I suffered in those 2 cruel hours of waiting. All the while, 3 distinct ideas were inseparably joined in my mind. Though they seemed unlike, they took pains, as it were, to keep in a dreadful group. They were my losses at play, my meeting with the tall woman, and the death of my revered father. Me senté en un sillón a esperar la mañana y a mi amigo, y con ellos las noticias de mi gran desventura. Solo Dios sabe lo que sufrí en esas 2 horas terribles de espera. Durante todo ese tiempo, 3 ideas distintas permanecieron inseparablemente unidas en mi mente. Aunque parecían inconexas, se mantenían juntas de un modo pavoroso. Eran mis pérdidas en el juego, mi encuentro con la mujer alta y la muerte de mi venerado padre. Precisely at 6 Major Falcon came into my room and looked at me in silence. I threw myself into his arms, weeping bitterly, and he exclaimed, caressing me, "Yes, my dear fellow, weep, weep." Justo a las 6 entró el mayor Falcón en mi habitación y me miró en silencio. Me arrojé en sus brazos, llorando con amargura, y él exclamó, acariciándome, "Sí, hijo mío, llora, llora." My friend Telesforo, Gabriel went on after having drained another glass of wine, also rested a moment when he reached this point, and then he proceeded as follows. He said, "If my story ended here, perhaps you would not find anything extraordinary or supernatural in it. You would say to me the same thing that men of good judgment said to me at that time, that everyone who has a lively imagination is subject to some impulse of fear or other, that mine came from belated, solitary women, and that the old creature of Jardine Street was only some homeless waif who was going to beg of me when I screamed and ran." Mi amigo Telesforo, continuó Gabriel, tras vaciar otra copa de vino, también se detuvo un momento al llegar a este punto, y luego prosiguió de la siguiente manera. Dijo, "Si mi historia terminara aquí, quizá no encontrarían ustedes nada extraordinario ni sobrenatural en ella. Me dirían lo mismo que me dijeron entonces algunas personas sensatas, que cualquiera que tenga mucha imaginación está sujeto a algún impulso de miedo, que el mío provenía de mujeres tardías y solitarias, y que aquella vieja de la calle Jardines no era más que una desamparada dispuesta a pedirme limosna cuando grité y eché horror. For my part, I tried to believe that it was so. I even came to believe it at the end of several months. Still, I would have given years of my life to be sure that I was not again to encounter the tall woman. But today, I would give every drop of my blood to be able to meet her again. Por mi parte, intenté creer que así era. Incluso llegué a convencerme de ello al cabo de varios meses. Aún así, habría entregado años de mi vida por la certeza de no volver a encontrarme con la mujer alta, pero hoy daría hasta la última gota de mi sangre por poder verla de nuevo. What for? ¿Para qué? To kill her on the spot. Para matarla en el acto. I do not understand you. No te comprendo. You will understand me when I tell you that I did meet her again, 3 weeks ago, a few hours before I had the fatal news of my poor Joaquina's death. Me entenderás cuando te cuente que volví a encontrarla hace 3 semanas, pocas horas antes de recibir la fatídica noticia de la muerte de mi pobre Joaquina. Tell me about it, tell me about it. Cuéntamelo, cuéntamelo. There is little more to tell. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. It was not yet fully light, though the dawn was visible from the streets looking towards the east. The street lamps had just been put out, and the policeman had withdrawn. As I was going through Prado Street, so as to get to the other end of Lobo Street, the dreadful woman crossed in front of me. She did not look at me, and I thought she had not seen me. Poco queda que contar. Eran las 5 de la mañana. Todavía no había amanecido por completo, aunque el alba se divisaba en las calles que miran al este. Acababan de apagar las farolas y los guardias se habían retirado. Mientras cruzaba la calle del Prado para llegar al otro extremo de la calle Lobo, aquella temible mujer se interpuso ante mí. No me miró y pensé que no me había visto. She wore the same dress and carried the same fan as 3 years before. My trepidation and alarm were greater than ever. I ran rapidly across Prado Street as soon as she had passed, although I did not take my eyes off her, so as to make sure that she did not look back, and when I had reached the other end of Lobo Street, I panted as if I had just swum an impetuous stream. Then I pressed on with fresh speed towards home, filled now with gladness rather than fear, for I thought that the hateful witch had been conquered and shorn of her power from the very fact that I had been so near her, and yet that she had not seen me. Llevaba el mismo atuendo y el mismo abanico que 3 años atrás. Mi nerviosismo y mi pavor eran mayores que nunca. Crucé la calle del Prado corriendo tan pronto como pasó, aunque no dejé de vigilarla con la vista para cerciorarme de que no se volvía, y cuando alcancé el otro extremo de la calle Lobo, jadeaba como si hubiera nadado a contracorriente. Entonces seguí con renovada prisa hacia casa, lleno más de júbilo que de temor, pues creí que la maldita bruja había sido vencida y despojada de su poder tan solo por el hecho de haber estado tan cerca de mí sin haberme reconocido. But soon, and when I had almost reached this house, a rush of fear swept over me, in the thought that the crafty old hag had seen and recognized me, that she had made a pretense of not knowing me so as to let me get into Lobo Street, where it was still rather dark, and where she might set upon me in safety, that she would follow me, that she was already over me. Sin embargo, al poco rato, cuando ya casi llegaba a esta casa, un súbito terror me invadió al pensar que la taimada vieja me había visto y reconocido, que fingió ignorarme para dejarme avanzar hacia la calle Lobo, donde aún había penumbra y podría atacarme impunemente, que me seguiría, que ya me tenía encima. Upon this I looked around, and there she was, there at my shoulder, almost touching me with her clothes, gazing at me with her horrible little eyes, displaying the gloomy cavern of her mouth, fanning herself in a mocking manner, as if to make fun of my childish alarm. Ante esto, volví la cabeza. Y allí estaba, justo a mi lado, casi rozándome con sus ropas, mirándome con sus ojos diminutos y horribles, exhibiendo la lúgubre gruta de su boca, abanicándose de manera burlona, como si se mofara de mi miedo infantil. I passed from dread to the most furious anger to savage and desperate rage. I dashed at the heavy old creature. I flung her against the wall. I put my hand to her throat. I felt of her face, her breast, the straggling locks of her gray hair, until I was thoroughly convinced that she was a human being, a woman. Pasé del pavor a la ira más furiosa, a una rabia salvaje y desesperada. Me abalancé contra esa vieja corpulenta. La estrellé contra la pared. Le puse la mano en la garganta. Toqué su rostro, su pecho, los mechones desordenados de su cabello canoso, hasta convencerme de que era un ser humano. Una mujer. Meanwhile, she had uttered a howl which was hoarse and piercing at the same time. It seemed false and feigned to me, like the hypocritical expression of a fear which she did not really feel. Immediately afterwards, she exclaimed, making believe cry, though she was not crying, but looking at me with her hyena eyes. Why have you picked a quarrel with me? Entretanto, había soltado un alarido ronco y agudo a la vez. A mí me pareció falso y fingido, como la expresión hipócrita de un miedo que en realidad no sentía. Acto seguido, exclamó, fingiendo llorar, aunque no derramaba lágrimas, y mirándome con sus ojos de hiena. ¿Por qué te has metido conmigo? This remark increased my fright and weakened my wrath. Then you remember, I cried, that you have seen me somewhere else. I should say so, my dear, she replied mockingly. St. Eugene's night in Jardine Street 3 years ago. My very marrow was chilled. Esa pregunta acrecentó mi temor y debilitó mi furor. Entonces recuerdas, exclamé, que ya me habías visto antes. Pues claro, querido, respondió burlona. La noche de San Eugenio en la calle Jardins, hace 3 años. Sentí cómo se me helaba la médula. But who are you? I asked, without letting go of her. Why do you follow me? What business have you with me? I am a poor weak woman, she answered, with a devilish leer. You hate me, and you are afraid of me without any reason. If not, tell me, good sir, why you were so frightened the first time you saw me. ¿Pero quién eres? Le pregunté sin soltarla. ¿Por qué me sigues? ¿Qué tienes que ver conmigo? Soy una pobre mujer indefensa, contestó con una mueca diabólica. Me odias y me temes sin ningún motivo. Si no, dime, caballero, ¿por qué te asustaste tanto la primera vez que me viste? Because I have loathed you ever since I was born. Because you are the evil spirit of my life. It seems, then, that you have known me for a long time. Well, look, my son, so have I known you. You have known me. How long? Since before you were born. And when I saw you pass by me 3 years ago, I said to myself, that's the one. Porque te aborrezco desde que nací, porque eres el espíritu maligno de mi vida. Parece, entonces, que llevas tiempo conociéndome. Pues mira, hijo mío, yo también te conozco a ti. ¿Tú me conoces? ¿Desde cuándo? Desde antes de que nacieras. Y cuando te vi pasar hace 3 años me dije, ese es. But what am I to you? What are you to me? The devil, replied the hag, spitting full in my face, freeing herself from my grasp, and running away with amazing swiftness. She held her skirts higher than her knees and her feet did not make the slightest noise as they touched the ground. Pero qué soy yo para ti? Y tú para mí? El diablo, contestó la bruja, escupiéndome en la cara, deshaciéndose de mi sujeción y huyendo con velocidad pasmosa. Levantaba las faldas más arriba de las rodillas, y sus pies no hacían el menor ruido al pisar el suelo. It was madness to try to catch her. Besides, people were already passing through the Carrera de San Geronimo, and in Prado Street, too. It was broad daylight. The tall woman kept on running, or flying, as far as Horta Street, which was now lighted up by the sun. There she stopped to look back at me. She waved her closed fan at me once or twice, threateningly, and then disappeared around a corner. Perseguirla habría sido una locura. Además, ya pasaba gente por la carrera de San Jerónimo y también por la calle del Prado. Era pleno día. La mujer alta siguió corriendo o volando hasta la calle de las Huertas, que ya estaba iluminada por el sol. Allí se detuvo para mirarme, agitó su abanico cerrado una o dos veces con gesto amenazante y luego desapareció al doblar una esquina. Wait a little longer, Gabriel. Do not yet pronounce judgment in this case, where my life and soul are concerned. Listen to me 2 minutes longer. When I entered my house, I met Colonel Falcon, who had just come to tell me that my Joaquina, my betrothed, all my hope and happiness and joy on earth, had died the day before in Santa Agueda. The unfortunate father had telegraphed Falcon to tell me, who should have divined it an hour before, when I met the evil spirit of my life. Don't you understand now that I must kill that born enemy of my happiness, that vile old hag, who is the living mockery of my destiny? But why do I say kill? Is she a woman? Is she a human being? Why have I had a presentiment of her ever since I was born? Why did she recognize me when she first saw me? Why do I never see her except when some great calamity has befallen me? Is she Satan? Is she death? Is she life? Is she Antichrist? Who is she? What is she? Aguarda un poco más, Gabriel. No emitas tu veredicto aún en este asunto que afecta mi vida y mi alma. Escúchame 2 minutos más. Cuando entré a mi casa me encontré con el coronel Falcón, que acababa de llegar para informarme de que mi Joaquina, mi prometida, toda mi esperanza y felicidad y alegría en la tierra, había muerto el día anterior en Santa Águeda. El desdichado padre había telegrafiado a Falcón para decírmelo a mí, que debía adivinarlo una hora antes, al encontrarme con el espíritu maligno de mi vida. ¿No comprendes ahora que debo matar a esa enemiga innata de mi dicha, esa infame vieja que se burla de mi destino? Pero, ¿por qué digo matar? ¿Es acaso una mujer? Es un ser humano. ¿Por qué presentí su existencia desde mi nacimiento? ¿Por qué me reconoció la primera vez que me vio? ¿Por qué solo la veo cuando me sucede alguna gran desgracia? ¿Acaso es Satanás? ¿La muerte? ¿La vida? ¿El anticristo? ¿Quién es ella? ¿Qué es? I will spare you, my dear friends, continued Gabriel, the arguments and remarks which I used to see if I could not calm Telesforo, for they are the same, precisely the same, which you are preparing now to advance to prove that there is nothing supernatural or superhuman in my story. You will even go further. You will say that my friend was half crazy, that he always was so, that at least he suffered from that moral disease which some call panic terror and others emotional insanity, that, even granting the truth of what I have related about the tall woman, it must all be referred to chance coincidences of dates and events. And finally, that the poor old creature could also have been crazy, or a thief, or a beggar, or a procuress, as the hero of my story said to himself in a lucid interval. No les repetiré, amigos míos, prosiguió Gabriel, los argumentos y comentarios que empleé para ver si lograba calmar a Telesforo, porque son los mismos, exactamente los mismos, que ustedes se disponen ahora a presentar para demostrar que no hay nada sobrenatural o sobrehumano en mi relato. Incluso irán más lejos y dirán que mi amigo estaba medio loco, que siempre lo estuvo, que al menos padecía esa enfermedad moral que unos llaman terror pánico y otros locura emotiva, que aun aceptando la veracidad de lo que he contado sobre la mujer alta, todo se reduce a coincidencias fortuitas de fechas y sucesos, y por último, que la pobre vieja podría haber sido también una loca, una ladrona, una mendiga o una alcahueta, tal como el protagonista de mi historia pensó en un arranque de lucidez. A very proper supposition, exclaimed Gabriel's comrades. That is just what we were going to say. Una suposición muy sensata, exclamaron los compañeros de Gabriel. Justo lo que íbamos a decir. Well, listen a few minutes longer, and you will see that I was mistaken at the time, as you are mistaken now. The one who unfortunately made no mistake was Telesforo. It is much easier to speak the word insanity than to find an explanation for some things that happen on the earth. Speak, speak, I am going to, and this time, as it is the last, I will pick up the thread of my story without first drinking a glass of wine. Pues escuchen un poco más y verán que yo me equivoqué entonces, igual que se equivocan ustedes ahora. Quien, por desgracia, no se equivocó en nada fue Telesforo. Es mucho más sencillo pronunciar la palabra locura que hallar explicación para ciertas cosas que suceden en este mundo. Habla, habla. Lo haré enseguida. Y esta vez, como es la última, retomaré el hilo de mi historia sin beber antes otra copa de vino. A few days after that conversation with Telesforo, I was sent to the province of Albacete in my capacity as engineer of the Mountain Corps. Not many weeks had passed before I learned, from a contractor for public works, that my unhappy friend had been attacked by a dreadful form of jaundice. It had turned him entirely green, and he reclined in an armchair, without working or wishing to see anybody, weeping night and day in the most inconsolable and bitter grief. The doctors had given up hope of his getting well. Pocos días después de aquella charla con Telesforo, me destinaron a la provincia de Albacete en mi calidad de ingeniero del cuerpo de montaña. No habían transcurrido muchas semanas cuando supe, por medio de un contratista de obras públicas, que mi desdichado amigo había sido atacado por una terrible forma de ictericia. Estaba completamente verdoso y permanecía recostado en un sillón, sin trabajar ni querer ver a nadie, llorando día y noche con una pena inconsolable y amarga. Los médicos habían perdido la esperanza de su recuperación. This made me understand why he had not answered my letters. I had to resort to Colonel Falcon as a source of news of him, and all the while the reports kept getting more unfavorable and gloomy. After an absence of 5 months, I returned to Madrid the same day that the telegraph brought the news of the Battle of Tetuán. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Esto me hizo comprender por qué no respondía mis cartas. Tuve que recurrir al coronel Falcón para enterarme de su estado, y los informes eran cada vez más desalentadores y lúgubres. Tras una ausencia de 5 meses, regresé a Madrid el mismo día en que llegó por telégrafo la noticia de la batalla de Tetuán. Lo recuerdo como si hubiera sucedido ayer. That night, I bought the indispensable Correspondencia de España, and the first thing I read in it was the notice of Telesforo's death. His friends were invited to the funeral the following morning. You will be sure that I was present. As we arrived at the San Luis Cemetery, whither I rode in one of the carriages nearest the hearse, my attention was called to a peasant woman. She was old and very tall. She was laughing sacrilegiously as she saw them taking out the coffin. Aquella noche compré la imprescindible Correspondencia de España, y lo primero que leí en ella fue la esquela de la muerte de Telesforo. Sus amigos estaban invitados al entierro la mañana siguiente. Pueden imaginar que asistí. Cuando llegamos al cementerio de San Luis, a donde fui en uno de los carruajes más cercanos al coche fúnebre, me fijé en una campesina. Era vieja y muy alta, reía sacrílegamente mientras veía cómo sacaban el féretro. Then she placed herself in front of the pallbearers in a triumphant attitude and pointed out to them with a very small fan the passageway they were to take to reach the open and waiting grave. At the first glance I perceived, with amazement and alarm, that she was Telesforo's implacable enemy. She was just as he had described her to me, with her enormous nose, her devilish eyes, her awful mouth, her percale handkerchief, and that diminutive fan which seemed in her hands the scepter of indecency and mockery. Entonces se plantó frente a los que llevaban el ataúd, adoptando una actitud triunfante, y les señaló con un abanico diminuto el camino que debían seguir hasta la fosa abierta y preparada. A primera vista reconocí, atónito y aterrorizado, que era la enemiga implacable de Telesforo. Tal y como él la describió. Nariz enorme, ojos endemoniados, boca horrible, pañuelo de percal y aquel abanico minúsculo que parecía en sus manos un cetro de burla e indecencia. She immediately observed that I was looking at her and fixed her gaze upon me in a peculiar manner, as if recognizing me, as if letting me know that she recognized me, as if acquainted with the fact that the dead man had told me about the scenes in Jardine Street and Lobo Street, as if defying me, as if declaring me the inheritor of the hate which she had cherished for my unfortunate friend. De inmediato se dio cuenta de que la observaba y fijó en mí la mirada de un modo peculiar, como si me reconociera, como si quisiera hacerme saber que me reconocía, y conocía que el difunto me había relatado las escenas de la calle Jardins y la calle Lobo, como si me desafiara, como si me proclamara heredero del odio que sentía por mi desventurado amigo. I confess that at the time my fright was greater than my wonder at those new coincidences and accidents. It seemed evident to me that some supernatural relation, antecedent to earthly life, had existed between the mysterious old woman and Telesforo, but for the time being my sole concern was about my own life, my own soul, my own happiness, all of which would be exposed to the greatest peril if I should really inherit such a curse. Confieso que en ese momento mi terror superaba mi asombro ante aquellas nuevas coincidencias y casualidades. Me parecía evidente que existía alguna relación sobrenatural, anterior a la vida terrenal, entre la misteriosa anciana y Telesforo. Pero por el momento solo me importaba mi propia vida, mi propia alma, mi propia dicha. Todo se vería en grave peligro si realmente llegaba a heredar semejante maldición. The tall woman began to laugh. She pointed at me contemptuously with the fan, as if she had read my thoughts and were publicly exposing my cowardice. I had to lean on a friend's arm to keep myself from falling. Then she made a pitying or disdainful gesture, turned on her heels, and went into the cemetery. Her head was turned towards me. She fanned herself and nodded to me at the same time. She sidled along among the graves with an indescribable, infernal coquetry, until at last she disappeared forever in that labyrinth of tombs. La mujer alta empezó a reír. Me apuntó con el abanico con desprecio como si leyera mis pensamientos y exhibiera públicamente mi cobardía. Tuve que sostenerme en el brazo de un amigo para no caer. Luego hizo un gesto de lástima o desdén, giró sobre sus talones y entró en el cementerio. Seguía mirándome mientras se abanicaba y me hacía una ligera inclinación de cabeza. Avanzó de costado entre las tumbas con una coquetería indescriptible y diabólica, hasta que finalmente desapareció para siempre en aquel laberinto de sepulcros. I say forever, since 15 years have passed and I've never seen her again. If she was a human being, she must have died before this. If she was not, I rest in the conviction that she despised me too much to meddle with me. Digo para siempre porque han pasado 15 años y nunca volví a verla. Si era un ser humano, debe de haber muerto ya. Si no lo era, tengo la convicción de que me despreciaba demasiado como para inmiscuirse en mi vida. Now then, bring on your theories. Give me your opinion about these strange events. Do you still regard them as entirely natural? Ahora bien, expongan sus teorías. Díganme qué opinan de estos acontecimientos tan extraños. ¿Siguen considerándolos completamente naturales? The end. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe for more bilingual stories. Check our playlist section to find optimal listening material for your language learning. We wish you a wonderful day.